All right, joined here by Ricky Thornton Jr., and he is upstairs in his shop right now, and going to talk to you here about something a little unusual. You know, we're not going to be talking about dirt late model racing, especially here off the beat. Dude, you're making your first ever Silver Crown, USAC Silver Crown start at the Sumar Classic at Terre Haute Action Track. What the heck, man? Tell me about how this whole deal came about, because all the open wheel fans are excited, but I know the late model guys are too.
It's quite nuts, honestly. Obviously, I've always wanted to do it, just never really had not really the opportunity, just the right time. I'm so busy with the late model stuff that, we've had, I don't know, probably three or four corners reach out and want me to do something, just never found the right time to. So, Michael Burkhart, there at Team AZ reached out, and we talked a little bit last year and couldn't get anything figured out, and this year finally something lined up. So the crazy part, normally I feel like Terre Haute gets rained out and gets ran later in the year, and this year it looks like it might actually go as scheduled.
Yeah, April 13th, live on FloRacing, of course. But, what are you looking forward to the most as far as getting in that 2021 AZ? Those cars are different than anything you've ever driven on open, as far as open wheels are concerned. It's not a micro, it's not a midget. The fuel load and the tire conservation. What are you looking forward to the most?
Probably the biggest thing for me is going to be the fuel side of it. I mean, you got a whole drum of fuel behind you when you go green, and by the end you're about empty. So, I think just that side of it's gonna be so different. How big they are and how wide they are. I was joking. They got a starter, they got a transmission, so it's kind of like up my wheelhouse at that point. But no, just everyone I've talked to, they're so big, they feel like a big boat to them. So I figure everything I've raced, maybe this side of a sprint car will fit me a little bit better than the other ones.
It's not going to be like a midget where you have to drive the ever living dog, you know what, out of it, you know?
No, not for sure. And I don't know. I love running midgets, and so maybe this one where you don't have to run 100% every lap. But then, almost talking to some of those guys, I feel like it's turned into a 100 lap sprint race instead of a conservation race like it used to be.
So the pace is more elevated. Talking about those midgets and micros, because that's where we see you when you're running, open wheel type race cars. What do you like about them? What is it that scratches the itch for Ricky Thornton Jr.?
They're so competitive. Not that our stuff isn't competitive, but I feel like it's something new for me. I haven't mastered it yet, so I'm learning. And you might be racing a 10-year-old, you might be racing a 55-year-old. You never know. And either way, like I said, the competitiveness of it is pretty nuts. And really, I've never been a torsion bar guy or anything like that growing up. Like, it was always shocks and springs and in that style. So just learning different techniques for each race car, I feel like is in the end just helps you as a driver.
Kind of a cool deal with the Arizona connection.
Yeah, I was kind of laughing. So, uh, other than Bernie with the wing car a little bit last year, I ran for pretty much all Arizona guys. So, I remember it was RJ Johnson there the first time I went to Chili Bowl. Ryan Bolt, obviously, the last couple of years, and
Yep.
and then now TVAZ. So, who knows? Maybe we can run a little more for these Arizona guys and hopefully pick up a win.
Speaking of Arizona, whenever you just said Arizona, and it made me think of one thing, because obviously I'm an East Coast guy, but when I think of
Mhm.
Arizona, I think of Manzanita.
Oh,
Did you ever get a
100%.
chance to go there? Do you ever get, yeah, I know you've been there, obviously, but like, did you get a chance to watch USAC cars, the sprint cars, or the Silver Crown cars?
Yeah, so obviously I grew up there mainly Friday, Saturday nights. Ran a lot of stock car stuff. Then mods usually on Saturday
Yeah.
night, and usually Saturday nights was mods and sprint cars. So that's where I got to know a lot of sprint car guys. And I think me and my dad went to every Western World and every World of Outlaw wing sprint car show and everything else. So it was pretty awesome to be able to see that growing up. Obviously, it sucks that it's gone.
Yeah.
What was it 2007? We won the modified championship. So my little claim to fame for the last modified short track show they had, I won. So I feel like that one's kind of special.
I remember hearing your name when I'd go out there, but obviously you weren't like a household name like you were now. And the last
Hmm.
time I went out to Manzi, I actually we got our rent a cars towed in that, because of the chop shops and stuff right nearby. It wasn't very good, but speaking good memories of Manzi, what are your favorite memories of Manzanita?
Probably the biggest thing, just be able to race with my family.
Yeah.
Obviously, obviously now with my dad being older and my brothers living in different states, stuff like that, it was nice to be able to go as a family. Like I said, we'd run the stock car or factory stocks on Friday nights, and then we'd go help my dad Saturday nights with his modified, and my brother ran modifieds forever. So I think that was probably the biggest thing for me is being younger, growing up. You never realize till it's gone how special a place is or how much family side of it is until everyone's kind of older and kind of goes and does their own thing.
Yeah, those memories always last forever. You mentioned modified, and of course, I'm a modified guy, but you and I are different modified people. Okay, your modified style is different than my tour type asphalt modified style. But I was talking to Newman yesterday, Ryan Newman yesterday. He won the Smart Race at Orange County Speedway in North Carolina, and we were kind of describing what driving one of those cars was like at that racetrack, and he kind of talked about his old pavement sprint car and midget days,
Hmm.
and how those cars reminded him of that, or like maybe a Silver Crown car, a place like IRP. Um, you're a versatile guy. Have you ever thought of, like, you're doing this stuff now? Have you ever thought of a modified or anything like that? Especially pavement.
I've definitely thought about it. The hard part for me is I feel like I don't really know anyone that's in that side of it. So like that's the tough part for me would be going and finding the right guy. And
That was
the
my
the other
that was my good. What's the guy from the music show,
oh
the
yeah.
voice? Blake
Oh
Shelton.
yeah,
I'm
Blake
doing my Blake
Shelton.
Shelton right
Pick
there.
me, pick me. But like I feel I would love to do it, but I
Yeah,
feel like you got to make sure if you do that you're in a car that's competitive. Where I feel like that's where Larson's been really good is like
yeah.
he's never gotten in stuff that isn't capable of winning.
No, you're not. If you're going to do it, you can't waste your time with that. For sure. So
Yeah.
we've talked a little bit. I think we talked at World Finals a little bit about the fact that you've always flirted with, at least verbally, the idea. Maybe it's just casting out a hook of a race like the Snowball Derby, which is hugely
Hmm.
important to me. Um, you know, since we've talked, have you entertained any ideas, or is there any
I
is the bait out there, or do we need to cast right now?
I mean, the bait's still kind of out there. I've talked to three or four people about stuff, and
Hmm.
just the tough part is usually those big weekends are always on a big weekend for us. So with the late model side, like if I remember right, I think Snowball's on top of the dome,
Yep.
where the dome's 75,000 to win this year. So it's like,
Oh
do
baby.
you take a chance of not going and then go do that and be terrible, or you could go do that and be good? You never really know. But I've talked to a few guys about doing some asphalt stuff. It's
Yeah.
just it's trying to line it all out right
Yeah.
and be able to do it. I'm sure I'll probably go to IRP and run that Focus Midget again
Okay.
for high performance lubricants. That's my only start ever on asphalt, and I had a blast.
So, late models. I guess we should talk a little bit about late models. Tell me about where your season is so far. Where you'd rate it, and where you guys need to maybe improve a little.
Uh, I would say I'll give us a B. I think
Okay.
there's definitely room for improvement. Probably more driver than anything. I
How
feel
so?
like I've made more mistakes this year than I've ever made,
Okay.
and not that I'm over trying. I think just doing dumb things that as as the more you race, you learn like why are you doing that? And it's kind of one of those things that happens, and it's like yeah, I probably should have ran third there instead of trying to run second and wreck myself, and we end up 30th. So I don't know. Team morale's up. Was it? I think we got 3 seconds and a win the last four races.
Yep.
So I feel like we're in really good shape. We're going to Farmer City, Illinois this weekend for the Line I 100, and hopefully it goes good. Extreme midgets are running there. I thought about calling Keith and seeing
Oh.
if I could get a ride, but I figure I think it's 25 or 30,000 to win Saturday for the late model. So I figure better just focus on that and. I mean, I love racing, so I love watching too. So it'd be cool to do that. But I don't know. I feel like is if I can get a little bit better in the seat, I think we can get to an A. But there's still some room for improvement. We still looking for another crew guy. I feel like we've had enough crew guys in and out the last year that it really just kind of out of our control. Just we plan stuff to get going and learn guys where we can get a long term group and it's been tough finding the right guy.
So, the big question in late model racing: what's it going to take to beat Bobby Pierce?
uh, I don't know. I feel like honestly, I felt like last weekend I was a little bit better than he was, and I just didn't get the job done. He's good. He's really where his stuff's a little bit better than I think ours right now is when you do get to a place where you got to slow down and take back off. Like he can manipulate his car and still have enough traction to get going. Where
Okay.
I feel like sometimes my stuff's like that, sometimes it's not. Obviously, track positions is really good. He qualifies really good almost everywhere he goes. So even when he don't, like I think last weekend he started third in his heat race and still won. So it I don't know. He's tough, but at the same time, it's making all of us better. So hopefully, I'm sure we'll probably race them 20, 25 times the rest of the year, and hopefully we come out on top at least a few of them.
So it's a pretty busy weekend this year. So it's the 12th Saturday that you're running the late model, and then we're gonna Keith Kuntz, if you're listening, just put him in the midget. Just do it, because that would be the ultimate weekend, man, wouldn't it?
It,
Going
it
there and then going to Terre Haute.
it would for sure. It would for sure. Well, and like the hard part is I only got two midget seats. One's in the Silver Crown car, and one's sitting in my micro in Iowa. So although I think I can't remember whose we used last time, but it was one of the other. They just pulled it out of one of their spare cars whenever I ran from there in Nebraska. But no, it'd be cool to do both. But like I said, I figured I probably could have called him and got a ride put together, but with the amount of money the late model is this weekend, and us being down on a crew guy, it figured it'd be best bet for me just to focus on the one.
Terre Haute. They call it the action track. Obviously, every track has a nickname. But that was a bucket list place for me last year, just to go stand inside turn number 3. How they rip those cars down, especially a sprint car, rip those cars down the backstretch, and they literally go into the turn. For a pavement guy, it's spectacular to see, them literally selling out, and they're going into the turn pretty much backwards. It's a little bit different in how you have to drive that Silver Crown car, but how wild and how cool is that turn 3, especially in qualifying?
Oh, it's nuts. I mean, I've watched a lot of video, a lot of in cars and stuff like that, just trying to prepare myself
Uh
for it,
huh.
just because I I've tried to go a couple times and every time it rains out. So whenever I lived in Martinsville, it was a little over an hour from us. So it'll be different. At least we get some kind of practice early in the day, so I at least have a few laps before I got to go out and qualify.
So you'll
But
know how far, how deep you can send it.
yeah, yeah. Well, and I'm hoping like whenever we do go out and practice, like I can go out behind Leary or someone that's got plenty of laps there. I can kind of just gauge myself, like, okay, this is how hard you need to run, not run. Like that's the other tough part. Like I feel like you go out and qualify and you go out and try to run about wide open with it. Everyone's like, well, if you do that, you're probably gonna wreck. So I just got a lot of that little stuff I got to learn, especially for there. Like you said, the straightaways are so long, you get going so fast that you just worry. Okay, did I turn enough or did I turn too much? I'm gonna spin this thing out.
April 12th, April 13th. What's a good weekend for you? Give it to me.
Uh, I'm obviously I want to win the late model, but I figure as far as Silver Crown car, first step be just at least get in the show. And then I think if we can run top five, I think it'll be a successful weekend.
All right, you catch it all live on FloRacing. RTJ, if he's got a seat and it's got wheels, 4, maybe 2, nah, 4. We'll stick to 4. He'll drive it.